Jr. From Here For You Life Coaching, as a matter of fact. You can check out our website. It's hereforyoulifecoaching.com. It's in Honolulu, Hawaii. And we come to you every morning at 7. This is completely public service, okay? There's no sales pitch at the end of this. There's no, none of that. So I'm sorry if it disappoints you, but there's nothing really to buy, okay? So get your notepads, because you are going to be presented with these things and concepts and realities that you may not have heard presented this way, because it's not in the church's best interest to present it this way. It's not in the temple's best interest. It's not in commerce's best interest. It's not in the best interest of commerce. Okay? Why is that? Well, because it's a money-making system. Okay? So mammon in itself is not money. It's been presented to Christians as money. Okay? And why are we talking about Christian stuff? I'm not here to promote Christianity at all. It's just what I'm familiar with. Okay? It's my belief system. But I'm going to show you how it relates to everyone. Okay? Here's your if you know how to read the Bible and understand what it means and not take it like a literal story. If you're taking the Bible like a literal story, which most people do, right? And then people read the story, they interpret the story, and then they place their own definitions on things, right? And they start to make up their own avenue of belief when they incorporate the story. Okay, so there's Sunday school knowledge, which I equate to fundamental common knowledge. Okay, so it's the common knowledge that they say, well, these are the fundamental principles. It means this. Mammon means money. You can't follow God and money. Okay, kind of, sort of. It's kind of, sort of that. Okay, but then there's the esoteric knowledge, the hidden meanings. Esoteric means hidden. Exoteric means we're going to put it out here for the general public. Okay? Okay. Well, that's good. Hi, Darlene. Good morning. Good morning. You know this is off topic, but you need my help. Okay, so just message me. Okay? We're talking about God and Mammon today. We're talking about, so God and Mammon, if we put it in the spiritual sense, okay? Because I define spirit, okay, as this, the energy in here. Every human being has that in common. Every human being has the same power. Every human being can manifest anything they want. I've tested this over and over and over, okay? And this is the abundance versus lack thing. This energy, God energy, or let's say it a different way, the God in you is your power, okay? So God and Mammon, what are we going to do, and how are we going to understand Mammon? So anyway, we're doing this. This is why this is going to take a week, because I need to break it down so that you understand what exactly this is, okay? It's not like what they tell you in your commerce churches with your commerce Bibles, with your commerce level understanding pastors. Okay, so Mammon isn't just money. Okay, it's not about God versus money. Okay, when Jesus spoke about this, and there's a spiritual aspect to this, okay, it's manifestation, how we work as individuals and how we work collectively as consciousness, as human beings. Okay, so when Jesus was talking about this, he was talking about trust. He was talking about alliance. Alignment. When you align yourself, okay, with riches, with material things, okay, material things in the physical world, okay, there's a separation between the body and the spirit. But when you align yourself with these things, when your success and failure depends on your financial decisions, when your success or failure as you see yourself depends on your finances or the money that you have. You know how when people look at people with money, right? And they revere these people, they lift them up like this. Now, these people could be bad people in here, okay, but because they have the yacht, because they have the mansion, because, then they lift them up, okay? And some of the most shallowest people I've ever met had a lot of stuff. Knowing how to get stuff, okay, and being good at manifesting stuff. And like I said, this is not about judgment per se. This is not about saying that, well, if you follow this and whatever, and then you're good, and then over here you're bad at. No, it's not that. If you understand this one, okay, the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, if you understand this process, you don't have to have good morals and values, okay? You don't have to. You can accumulate riches. Dummies get rich. Okay, if you read the book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, you'll see that dummies get rich, smart people get rich, educated people get rich, uneducated people get rich, evil people get rich, good people get rich. So it's not about that. It's not about that. It's where you put your faith. Are you going to put your faith in this one, in the energy in here, or are you going to put it in to material things that you've accumulated, inanimate objects? Okay, so when we look at Mammon, let's look at the etymology. I made some notes because I didn't memorize everything and I need to talk in real time, so I made notes, okay? So when we look at Mammon, okay, the meaning is wealth, riches, property, and the things in which one trusts. Okay, trust is the key word, trust, okay? So this was in the early Aramaic is what this etymology is. It comes from Aramaic. Okay, then it goes and this Ammon is the Aramaic. Okay, now this is related to Amen. Okay, Ammon, Amun, Amen, Amen. Okay, okay. You didn't learn this in Sunday school, so here we go. Okay, it's linked to the Amen. Why is it linked to that? Well, because when you put your faith, okay, in the so be it, in the Amen, then what happens? Well, that's where your faith is. That's where your belief is. Okay, so next it went from the Aramaic, it went to the Semitic, okay, and then it went into Latin. I'm sorry, Greek. It went into Greek first, then Latin. Okay, now in the Greek, let's take a look at the Greek. I made notes. Okay, so when it was translated into the Greek, okay, it started taking on a different persona, a different personality. Okay, it started meaning that it wasn't really translated exactly. Okay, so every time it's transliterated, it takes on a little different shape, a little different form, a little different, people add and they subtract, and this is over time. This is over time. Okay, so by the time it goes into Greek, it's not really translated, okay? Meaning the foreign, word itself, the former meaning of the word is not really exact anymore, okay? And then by the time it goes into English around the 1300s, okay, Mammon starts to take on a different meaning. It starts to be regarded as riches, when originally it was regarded as agreement, like the Amen. Okay, so the agreement means that this is what you align with. Okay, in the translation of it, in the original translation of it. Now, when it gets to, by the time it gets to Greek, so let's run it down. So it starts off as wealth in Aramaic. It goes into Semitic Ammon, the Semitic Ammon. Then it goes into Greek, and then Greek is the Mammonas. What is that? Mammonas. So Mammon, Mammonas is Greek. The Latin is Mammon. Okay, and this is where you come into the Roman Catholic era. This is where you come into Rome. Okay, Mammon. And this is where it starts to change meaning, because they start manipulating people to give up their riches. Give it to us. Give it to us, and you'll receive salvation. Okay, and this is not what it was intended for. Okay, so it starts taking on the form of wealth as a false master. Okay, which is actually related to the roots, but it starts being insinuated and taught as money, and that money is wrong, money is bad, money. Okay, but it's not the money that's bad. It's not the money itself. It's not the wealth itself. It's who you are in here. And who you are in here is just magnified when you have a lot of money. Everything just goes up in levels. Okay. The influence you have. Why? Well, like I told you earlier, right? People perceive that, well, if you have a lot of money, you must be a good person. Or some people perceive the other way, right? Well, if you have a lot of money, you must be evil. None of that on both ends is true in its sense. Okay? So people are not necessarily evil or good if they have money. They just have money. And you have to look at it like that. Money is a tool. Money is something we measure things by. Okay? But with the flexing that people do, right? Okay, I have this, I have a boat, I have a car, I have. Then we tend to look at those people as, wow, they're successful. They must be good at this, that, and the other thing, and we lift them up in our minds. Okay. When in actuality, what Mammon is really talking about is intent. We get back to intention. So for you people that don't believe in religion, okay, because we're here for everyone. We're not here for religious purposes. I just come from what I know. But in the spiritual sense, it's intention at the roots. What are you going to align yourself with? So now we get back to the body and the spirit. When we get back to the body and the spirit, we go, okay, the spirit is divine. Your spirit, okay, is eternal. This doesn't die. This continues. Okay, Einstein showed us that energy does not dissipate. It does not evaporate. It does not go away. And everything is energy. But your energy in here is who you are. Okay, the body is different. This is your interface. The body is your interface into the physical world. The body is subject to time. And in time, your body just gets old, like everything. Your car gets old, your house gets old, everything gets old. All the plants, the trees, the flowers, the vegetables, they all get old, they all go. Okay, so when we look at, let's say the takeaway of this. So what is the takeaway of the etymology? The original meaning literally ties wealth to trust. Okay? And when you look at trust, or the amen, or the aman, or amun, okay, these are all words that are relative to each other. But when you start looking at this, you go, oh, okay, it's the trust in money. I trust money. Well, you cannot trust God and money at the same time. It's impossible. You can trust God and use money, okay? Or you can trust money and ignore this side, because you cannot use God if you're using money. You have to use one or the other, okay? And this goes back to what Jesus Christ taught us about the kingdom is within, and seek first the kingdom, and then everything else will be added unto you. And why is this important? Because it works the same way no matter how you slice it, no matter how you change it in definitions. It all comes back to the same thing. It's intention. I'm going to trust my job because my job brings me money. Okay? And a lot of people do this subconsciously. It's in your subconscious. We keep saying that. Okay? Conscious, subconscious, superconscious. Why? Well, when you go to college, when you go to high school, you're preparing for college. When you go to college, you're working on the degree. You're identifying with the degree as the source of what's going to bring you money. that brings you wealth. That brings you the house, the car, the kid, the food for the kids, clothes for the kids, providing for the family, all of that. So now that begins to become your reality subconsciously. Because why? Well, without the job, uh-oh, fear. Without the degree, can't get the job. Without the job, can't get money. Without money, I can't live. Right? Wrong. Wrong. Why is that? Because the kingdom is within. Because we're all connected. Okay, so let's go over the conscious, subconscious, superconscious again before we continue. So your conscious mind is your processing center. Okay, the frontal lobe of your brain, the prefrontal cortex. Okay, that's your processor. But it only works for 5% of your life. 95% of your life is your subconscious. What is that? That's the hard drive where the programs are stored, where you write the programs to go into the subconscious, where the programs are stored. Okay, that's your hard drive. Now, what is the superconscious over here? Well, this is consciousness. This is God. This is the divine. All of those things. We're not here to tell you what to believe. You believe what you believe. But the superconscious is the network that we're all plugged into as humans. So it doesn't matter what you believe. Okay, in here, in your spirit, because we're all spiritual beings having a physical experience, in here, we're all the same. In here, we have awareness in common. We are aware. And that awareness is energy. So whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, either way, you're a believer. You're going to believe something because it takes belief to form a paradigm. It takes a paradigm to form your actions. Okay, and your actions produce results. So when you're focused on the wrong thing, okay, and this is how it relates to manifestation. So get out your notepad. Here we go. Okay, when you're focused on an inanimate object, the degree, the position, the job, the money, the bank account, okay, you begin judging yourself. Okay, well, I didn't make that much money this month. Oh man, I'm slacking. And then you start getting down on yourself. When you start judging yourself or comparing, okay, we compare everything, right? We compare people. We see this guy, we see that guy. Oh, this guy looks like this guy looks like. We judge automatically. This is why it says, judge not and ye shall not be judged. Why? Because when you get in the habit of judging, it goes in your subconscious, wash, rinse, repeat. Guess who you start judging? Yourself. Why? Because you can observe yourself. Animals only look like this. That's all. That's all they can do. They cannot look at themselves and correct themselves and observe themselves. Okay? So if you can observe yourself thinking, who's doing the observing? This is awareness. This is what you have over every other living thing. This is divine intelligence. Now, where do you get the instructions for divine intelligence? From the right hemisphere of your brain. Okay, the creativity, the imagination, intuitive thought, divine guidance. It's all the right hemisphere of the brain. So why is it so important to separate this thing, this God and Mammon thing? Well, because God comes from the right hemisphere of your brain. When you get these messages, this divine inspiration, this divine intuition, all of these things, it's coming from the right hemisphere of your brain. When you start selecting the job, the diploma, money, inanimate objects, instead of in here, well, then now your alignment is with the ego, okay? Because the ego does that. That's what the ego does. The ego always thinks it knows better. And that's why you have to surrender your ego. Now, you don't have to be religious. if you don't want to be. But you do have to surrender the ego. Why? Because the ego thinks it knows best all the time. And this is why the trust needs to be placed in the energy within. That's the God in you. Okay? Or if you're spiritual, that's the source in you. Okay? Or if you're whatever your belief is, okay? But that's the awareness in you. You are of that. So, Mammon, right? When we talk about trust, we see a lot of people, right? They go to church, they go to temple, they go to synagogue, right? And then they lose their job and they're devastated. Why? Why would you be devastated if you have this infinite power within you? If God lives in here, why would you be devastated when you lose a job? Well, because everything's connected to the job, right? All this trust is connected to the job. Okay. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Let me check the messages here. There you go. Because everything is connected to the job. Everything is connected to the financial system. Everything is connected to my investments. Everything is connected to my status. These are all of the ego. The ego is in charge of all of those things, okay? The ego tells you, well, now you don't have anything. So we go back to the separation of the body and the spirit. Your body is your physical interface into physical reality. Can you change your reality through, let's say, vibration? Sure. Of course, we're all connected. But your vibration, okay, let's say it another way, your emotions, because that's how we judge, that's how we approximate, that's how we look at, or how we frame vibration through emotion. Are you happy most of the time? Are you joyful most of the time? I'm not talking like 80% or 90%. It could be 51%. It could be 55%. Are you happy? Take a look at the things that make you happy. Now ask yourselves, these things that make me happy, are they inanimate objects? Or are they puppies? Are they people? You see? You see? Because everything comes to us from God or source or universe, however you want to say it, through others. So placing your alignment with an inanimate object, whether it's a beautiful house, whether it's a $100 bill, whether it's a, right? I always tell you about the pen. The pen is more powerful than the sword. So I can write an affirmation. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm confident. Thank you. And then I start to believe it after 2 weeks. It starts to get better, right? But at the point in which I assign my trust to the pen, something's wrong. It's not the pen, it's the subconscious. The superconscious, or God, or source, or universe, or only will support what is in your subconscious. This is why when you pray for something, but you believe in the opposite direction, whatever it is, you're counter-manifesting. That's what they call counter-manifesting. Counter-manifesting is just not being in alignment with what you are asking. The process is ask, believe, receive. When you ask and you believe in what you're asking, or believe that you will receive what you're asking, you will receive it. But sometimes it shows up in different ways that we don't recognize. Okay. So going back to the Mammon, okay, we're talking about God and Mammon. So what about physical things like the house? Is that Mammon? Well, it only becomes Mammon. It does become Mammon. The key word is trust, remember? It can become Mammon if you trust in the house. This is what's keeping me safe. This is what's doing this. For the house is the instrument that is doing keeping my family together. The house is the instrument that is doing this. Okay, so your belief now is in the house rather than in here. Because your divine connection is within. The kingdom is within. Jesus told us the kingdom is within. So your reality of the physical world develops. It gets stronger. Okay? It gets stronger. And when it gets stronger and you get pulled into this reality, you start believing the illusion. Okay, why is it an illusion? Because it is separate from the spirit. It is separate from source. It is separate from God. It is separate from universe. However you want to classify the superconscious. There's a separation between the body and spirit. So anything in the physical world can become Mammon. It's not just money, okay? It's the intention behind the wealth or the riches or the things. That's all. When you start thinking it's the thing, okay, like if I started believing it was the pen that was bringing me money, oh, this is my lucky pen, you know, like a lucky rabbit's foot, there you go. So people actually used to carry rabbits. I know it's weird, right? Like back in the day, it's like, what, you would carry a rabbit's foot around with you? Well, it was supposed to be lucky, right? And then you carry, I mean, it's barbaric when you think about it, right? But that's what used to happen. These are some of the things. Okay, so rocks, stones, these things. You go to a store, a spiritual store, they have stones. Oh, this stone brings you money. Oh, this stone brings you health. Now you're putting your faith in the stone. Now you're saying, I'm well because of the stone. Now you're trusting the stone. Okay? So whether you're trusting the stone or you're trusting the candle or you're trusting the rabbit's foot, ouch. Okay? You're not trusting in here. Your power is in here. But the physical world, the commercial world, okay, has influenced you into believing in the rabbit's foot, the candle, the stone, okay, the genie lamp that you rub, and oh, all of a sudden, poof, there you go, your dream. That's not how dreams work. That's not how dreams work. You have to believe in you in here because God is in here. So you cannot believe in God or let's say source or let's say, okay, variations, okay? And not believe in yourself. Okay, so if you're scared, if you're fearing things, whatever it is, doesn't matter. You could be fearing your spouse, your other half, your significant other. Okay, because if you say the wrong thing, they might explode. If you say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, they might leave. Then you might be alone. All of these things. Okay, and I'm talking about at the subconscious level where you cannot consciously feel it. But these are legitimate fears that happen. These are legitimate worries that start. It's the difference between believing and knowing. Because these beliefs start forming in the subconscious. If you're focused on the energy within, the God within, if you're focused on that, your life force, which produces your life path, which brings out your life path like this, and it unfolds for you. Okay. Then if you don't have money, let's say money runs out. Let's say money runs out between paychecks. Be patient, wait, close your distractors, and ask. You can ask, when will money come? You can ask for more money. You can ask for money now. But if in your subconscious you're going, oh, this doesn't work for getting money, okay, what happens? This happens. Okay. This is asking for money. This is your subconscious going, no, I don't think this is gonna happen. This is not the way to do it. What's the way to do? Oh, the physical world. Oh, you have to go to work. You have to get a job. You have to. That's mammon. That's placing your faith in the bank, in the paycheck, in the system. The system becomes mammon when you start believing in it or putting your trust in the system. Because why? Because you detach. You start to detach from your spiritual power. You start to detach from the understanding that God is inside. God lives within. Source lives within. Universe lives within, however you want to say it. Okay, but all of us humans are created the same. We all work the same way. We believe differently. Okay, everyone's entitled to their beliefs. Like I said, whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, either way, you're a believer. Everyone has a different perception. There's 8 billion of us on Earth, and we're all different. We're all just a little bit different. Our perceptions are all just a little bit different. Okay? Our perceptions are influenced, they're guided, okay? They're saying, okay, here, we're gonna take your perception, your huge overview, okay, your paradigm, the way you look at the world, and we're gonna bring it over here for this thing. We're gonna make you think this about this thing. And this thing could be your health. This thing could be working out at the gym and how it works and the most effective way to do it, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Or this could be anything. Okay, but this is how we're going to look at this. And then you get, the majority of people looking over here and they go, oh, okay, like that? Okay. And they conceptualize it. Why? Because of their intelligence, because they're humans. Then what happens? Then they become in agreement or in alignment with principles and concepts and structures. And, oh, okay, this works like that. Does it always work like that? Let's give you something you can understand a little easier. Does everybody lose 10 pounds the same way? Somebody can take, one person can take off 10 pounds like that. How did you do it? I just drank water. Ah, they fasted. Another person, oh, I went on the carnivore diet. Oh, I only ate fish. Oh, I did, so everybody has their own way. Everyone has their own understanding. Everyone can create their own method. Why? Because in here, you have the power. In here, there's God within, or the Creator's energy within. And there's within and there's without. So you can tap into this, or you can go without it. You can ignore it. You can be distracted into the inanimate object and then create mammon out of it. Oh, this degree is why I have money. This degree is why I have the house. I spent 4 years in college and I got straight A's, and then I graduated cum laude and they gave me a degree. And then you worship the degree. The degree becomes your God. Is the degree your God? No, the degree is a thing. It's a thing you needed to get the job, okay? To bring you the money to live. Without this, without this, without the God in you, you would not be able to endure the course. You would not be able to endure the 4 years. Where do you get the intelligence from? You don't receive it in college. College takes you, okay, like this, okay? This is your understanding. This represents your intelligence. Don't get the two confused. Intelligence is not education. But in college, they will take this and they will say, okay, we're going to do this to you. And this is nursing. And this is dentistry. And this is carpentry. Now this becomes your focus. And these are the things you need to do to be good at this. What's wrong with that? Nothing's wrong with that. Is that evil? No, of course not. But when you begin to look at this as, okay, this is it, this is the thing, this is, right? It becomes Mammon. Because why? Because you've taken your natural understanding of things and it's been compressed into this small little lane. You know how people say stay in your lane? Okay, your lane gets formed. And when you stay in your lane, people don't go to college to get smart. They go to college, they're already smart, okay? They go to college to learn something for a specific thing. It could be a job, it could be a level of expertise, it could be. But then, here you are. Everything outside of this depends on how much free time you have. Depends on your inner focus, your inner vision. How do you get that? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Why? Why is that so important? Well, because you've been taken from here and you've been compressed to this. And now you do this. And after college, when you get the degree for this, when you get the position for this, you go right into the workforce. And what do? You do this. And this is why when I work with my professionals, okay, I have to take them from here and I have to go like this and open them up. Why? So that everything else will fall into place. Because before you get educated, is education wrong? No, of course not. Absolutely not. But before you get educated, you're like this. Remember when you were 9, you were like this. You used your imagination. Oh, then you got a little older, 13. Okay, don't fantasize anymore. That's immature. Okay, 17. Okay, no. We don't do that. We're going to act like an adult. What does an adult act like? Well, not like the 16-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds. Okay? And then what? Well, now you're like this. Now some people see the world like this. I know some very educated people. One of my close friends. He's 85 already. And he lives a meager existence. But he has a good goal. His goal is to donate $1 million to the Wildlife Foundation when he dies. Okay, nothing wrong with that, right? But he lives small because he thinks that this smallness, this limited thinking, this small box, okay? Now this limited box can make you a lot of money and you can still be limited in your existence. There are a lot of people that bring home huge paychecks that live like this. In here, the prison is here, and he lives small. Does he make a lot of money? Well, not a lot of money, but a good living. So when you tap into the difference between Mammon, okay, and God, okay, and source versus material, okay, or let's say it another way, riches become your God, riches become whatever you define as the power in your life. Because I have money, because I have clout, because I have whatever, it gets me respect, it gets me through life. Now that has become your God. When you tap into this, when you focus on the God within, when you focus on your spirit, when you focus on your energy, when you understand that there's a separation between the body and the spirit, what happens? If you lose your job, okay, something better is coming. It's the faith that you put in things versus the faith that you put in here. Whether you call it source, whether you call whatever you call it, you can call it anything. You are a co-creator with the divine, whatever you consider the divine to be. The definition between there's a line here, okay? And there's positive over here, there's negative over here. Do negative people make money? Sure. Do positive people make money? Sure. Do positive people worship money? Sure. Do negative people worship money? Sure. But when you receive your divine guidance, when you see the world for what it really is, okay, because most people never understand what the world is while they're here, maybe until it's time to go, and then they go, oh, there's nothing to fear. Oh, the fear was being projected from the Mammon because I believed in that. Because I believed in a fear-based system. Because I believed in this thing here that was driving me out of fear. I had an attorney client that was like that, and she told me her whole career was driven out of fear because she did not want to be poor. And this is the thinking that you get from the system, because the system keeps telling you, well, if you don't get the degree, you're going to be poor. You're going to struggle. You're going to. If you don't get the $100,000 a year job, you're not going to make it. You're going to suffer. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Hey, Tumi. Good morning, Tumi. Okay, these are false beliefs. These are false concepts. This is not abundance thinking. This is limited thinking. Okay? Education does do this to you, but it does it for a reason. Because if you're an attorney, you need to focus on law. If you're a dentist, you need to focus on dentistry. But everything outside of that is up to you. I know a lot of people who have a lot of money who believe in this, and they have a lot of money. They're successful. I know a lot of people who believe in the credit card, the bank account, the job, the paycheck, the business, and they have a lot of money. So what's the benefit? Well, the benefit is with Mammon, okay, or worshiping wealth, or worshiping money, or like that. Have you ever seen the girls that could be a guy? I see guys do it too, but I run into girls mostly that run stores and stuff, and they're cashiers and whatever, and they take the credit card and they hand it to you like this. At the restaurant, they hand you your credit card like this. They don't hand your merchandise to you like that. They just, here, They don't give you your chopsticks like that. They just here. They don't give you your food like that. But the credit card represents dollars. In the United States, that value goes up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay? They print money. They print it. But everyone is kept in fear. Oh, that money's gonna collapse. That money's gonna run out. That money's gonna. So what do? Oh, you put more energy into Mammon. You put more energy into the artificial things. You place more attention on the artificial things. You cannot serve God and Mammon because Mammon represents material wealth, elevated into a deity, or let's say maybe a less extreme way. Okay, a competing loyalty. Why? Well, you have to be loyal to the job, loyal to the paycheck, loyal to the boss, loyal to things that represent that income in the physical world. What about this in here? Can this bring you income? Oh, yeah. We're all connected. Through awareness, we're all connected. This is why when you think about somebody, you think about them. Pretty soon you see them in the mall and you go, whoa, I was just thinking about you. They show up. Were they somehow pulled into your reality? Maybe not like that. Okay. Maybe all of a sudden they just got the idea. I think I'll go to the mall. I think I need to get XYZ, so I'll go to the mall. And then, boop, there you go. There is a divine presence within you. Whether you call it God or not, you can call it Source, you can call it whatever you want to call it. You can call it George. You can call it Susie. Whatever you want to call it. Okay? However you believe. But if you're thinking about wealth in the attachment sense, you're attached to it. Okay? A lot of old timers are like this. A lot of boomers are like this. Okay? I'm not one of those boomers. But a lot of boomers are like that. Why? Because, well, when we were kids, okay, our parents projected things onto us from their generation, the pre-boomer generation, that went through the war. And things are handed down genetically as well as in the world that you can see, that you can read history about. You know, the Depression, oh my God, they only had bread to eat, whatever. I'm just saying. But when you see these things, when you're affected by these things, it shapes your thinking. If you think about it over and over, it goes into the subconscious as a belief. Then you start practicing these things in life. You start exhibiting behavior that is conducive to lack rather than abundance. If you knew that this energy in you brings you everything you desire, you just have to think about it, right? And then sooner or later you're good. That does not mean that you ignore everything and everything's taken care, of you and you have a blank check for life. That does not mean that. That means you find something that you're happy with to provide service to others. Okay, that could be a job, right? A lot of people have jobs that serve others. That's the best way. Because when you help others, when you serve others, when you give gratitude, when you practice generosity, it comes back. How does it come back? It comes back to your subconscious. Because your subconscious goes, oh, we're being generous? Okay. And what goes around comes around. It's universal law. It's the universal law of compensation, which says that you give, you get in the amount of your giving. You give a lot, you're going to get a lot. You ever notice that? Ever notice when you start giving, you start receiving, and then maybe something happens and you slow down the giving, and then the getting slows down. The receiving slows down a little bit. You ever notice that? Women notice these things first. This is why the majority of my clients are women. They notice these things first. Why? Because they're sharper than us. They're more focused to their environment than men. Sorry, men. Sorry to disappoint you. Why is that? Because they're designed to be mama bears. They're emotional feelers. Okay? Their awareness is much sharper because they need to protect their baby bears if they have them. If they don't have them, they still have that capability. Okay? And they can sense these things. They know when something's not right. They just have that feeling. It's instinct. Just like animals. Same thing. Then what happens? Well, when they sense that something's not right, what does the subconscious do? It tries to identify it. The reticular activating system in your brainstem starts to filter out the things you're not focused on. And now that something doesn't seem right, that becomes the focus. Something's not right. What's not right? Something's wrong with this picture. Something's wrong with this restaurant. Something's wrong with this crowd over. What's going on? And then you begin to question, right, ladies? And then what happens? Then your amygdala kicks in. Okay? If it's a negative thought. And then you start getting the negative what if this, what if that, what if this, what if that, what if this, what if that, and they're all negative. Then you get the negative spiral. How does it happen in the opposite? When you see something positive, when you get excited about something, what happens? Things increase. They increase automatically. The happier you get, the more you start manifesting. Or let's say it another way, the more you start receiving. Okay, and let's say that you're giving something. And let's say that something kills that mood or something interrupts that energy or that vibration. Then what happens? Well, then things can change pretty quickly. Things can go south very quickly for a woman because their minds are so powerful. But their minds are powerful for a reason. It ensures the safety of the next generation. And humans have to survive. They have to exist. So this is not something that, women are crazy. Women are whatever. They go, they're just emotional. They don't know what they're talking about. No, they actually do. They actually do. It just doesn't come in the same way as it does with men. That's all. That's all. He's broadcasting on 7. Oh, okay. Who am I looking at? Oh, hi. Hey, Rich. How you doing? I have a camera over here. I have a camera over there. I have a camera over there. And I normally speak to that camera, but I look over here. So you can ask me questions. Go ahead. Ask me questions. I check. We're trying to give as much information as possible to help people. Okay, I'm not here to, I'm not here to sell things. So just take notes. So material gain plus dependence. When you depend on the material gain, that's Mammon. The world's system of status, control, fear, and accumulation, right? How much stuff do I have? Oh, look at Bob next door. He's got a grill. Oh, I need a grill. Yeah, Bob just bought a boat. Oh, I need a boat. Okay? Keeping up with the Joneses, as they said in the old days. I don't know what they say now. They just say flexing. I just hear it flexing. Okay? That's Mammon. Why? Because fear drives you in that direction. Okay, oh, the economy is going to, stock market's going to crash. The economy's bad. Everything's bad. Okay? And then what does the wrong, or let's say non-conducive, abundant interest rate do? It slows things down. What happens when things slow down for people? They automatically fear. What does that do? That drives. Okay? It drives the mammon end of things. So now people are like, push, push, push. Oh, I gotta do more, gotta do more, gotta do more, gotta do more. You can't operate from fear and love at the same time. Your God energy, the God in here, okay, what Jesus Christ was talking about when he said the kingdom is within, where your life path comes from, is not going to unfold smoothly in fear, but it will flow smoothly in abundance. And you keep the abundance going by going within into the kingdom. You keep the abundance going by allowing this life path of yours to unfold freely, by putting your faith in the God within, by putting your faith in the divine, by putting your faith in what you are, in who you are. And that's what you manifest. But the manifestation slows down like this with fear. It doesn't stop. You keep living, you keep going. Okay? But your life path gets pushed on the side like this. Every time you're fearful, every time you're doubtful, your life path just goes like this a little bit. And then when the doubt and fear goes away, you go back on track again. Okay? And this is why the universal law of rhythm is important, because you need to watch the rhythm of things. And so you know when things go like this and you're fearing, the solution is not to worry. The solution is not to get angry that there's no money, or that money is going out, or that things are not as you want them in the moment. But it's a key element, okay, or warning of, hey, I need to be more conducive to abundance. What does that mean? Well, I need to be happier. I need to express joy. I need to express positive energy. Then what happens? Oh, it's like open arms to wealth. It's like open arms to money. It's like open arms to opportunity. Okay? So tomorrow we're going to talk more about this. There's a reason why. Okay, so if you're Christian, I have a lot of Christian people on a couple of my platforms. I don't know about this one, but over here, okay, sorry, we're operating on 7 different platforms. Okay. But a lot of my Christians have been taught this the wrong way, and it's just Sunday school. That's all. Okay? So tomorrow we'll see you at 7. Thank you, thank you. Oh, Sarah, you're here. Thank you, Sarah. I didn't see you. Hi, Miss Sunshine. Okay, so I will see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. There's no sales pitch. There's nothing to sell you, but thank you for coming, and we'll see you tomorrow, okay? I just want more people to absorb this, because if I can affect more people and more people start manifesting better lives, guess what happens to me? Yeah, my life gets better, okay? Because we all get better together. We all get ahead together. We are all one species, and we all have God, source, universe, okay, whatever you call it, in here, your life force. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. And we want to just to our live stream.